Amen. Sit down. We're going to hear another little story about the goodness of God. So, first, you're sitting in a building provided by God because of exactly what Julia was talking about. A prayer that I wrote down years ago as I'm pastor and trying to figure out how things work and what to do. And we have a building and it's sold. It was for sale while we were in it. It's sold. And so we had to find somewhere else to meet. So we went to my house and we met there for a year or so. And then someone came along and said, "You need to be where people can see you. I'll pay for a building for you on down Main Street, Hillsboro, for 6 months. And after that, if you can pay for it, great. If you can't, then you go back to the house." So we rented that place for 7 or 8 years. The whole time it was for sale. And they sold that building. And we looked around Hillsboro, we could not find a place to go. So we met in the house for another year or two. And in that time, I'm going, God, this is a real pain. I get somewhere, we get real comfortable, and then they sell it. And please give me a place free, because I ain't got no money. But you own a cattle on 1,000 hills, you can provide. So then he gave us a building right uptown here, which is the size of probably Vicky or of Julie's stuff over here. That was the whole size of the building. And we had food in there, and everybody snacking in the middle of the sermon. And I'm like, Lord, you gave it to me. I'll do the best I got. Then I gave up. And I said, Lord, I'm done. I'm done. And COVID came, and God gave me a vacation for 6 months. And at the end of that 6 months, I'm like, I've been praying, Lord, whatever you want me to do, I will do. If it's prison ministry, I'll do it. That's what I wanted to do. If it's standing on a street corner, whatever you want me to do, even pastor, within the hour, knock on the door. You know that building I told you about? Yeah. So we went up and looked at it, and they said, it's yours if you want it. And I said, how much you want for it? And they gave me an amount. And I said, I ain't got that. How much you got? I said, well, I heard you were giving it away for $1. And they said, well, you heard wrong. So I said, well, I can come up with $5,000. And they said, okay. You know what happened about that time? Stimulus.
What?
Stimulus.
Oh.
COVID checks. So you know who paid for this building? The government. They gave it to us for free. They sent the check to me and to Tara, and we paid for the building. So it was free. So that was an answer, same as Julia's. I wrote it down. The Lord do it. And so here's the story I was planning on telling today. A few years ago, after we had got the building, we had a concert here. And Seventh Day Slumber, and it was awesome, and it was loud, and it was rattling everything. And if you look up there, part of the roof fell in on somebody as they're rocking and worshiping. And I'm like, Lord, you're going to have to fix this, because I ain't got no money. It's kind of a running thing. I don't have no money. And so nothing happened, and I kind of put my head in the sand, going, this is never going to happen. And then the people from FACO came in, and they looked at that, and they said, we ought to fix that. So, in comes Faith, and they start putting quarters in, and somebody keeps putting $20 bills in, and not complaining. And so I'm like, Lord, the faith of a child. And Lord, I believe you can do it. I just pray that you would. And so this week, this is all from last Sunday until now. They've been putting quarters in here and $20 bills every once in a while. So I got all the change, and I took it to the bank. And so there was $46, I believe, that just came in through Little Faith here. And then someone else heard that we were doing that, so they sent another great big bucket of change. So that was $136 in change. And there was some other money given. The family that gives to the church every once in a while through change and money. And so we added that all up. It was $360 some. And truthfully, if all it is a leak that my friend was telling me he thinks it is, that might fix it. We'd still have this thing here, a little hole here, but it would stop leaking. But that's not how God does things. So this is all this week. We got a check from people I don't know from Caffeine, $185. We got, somebody asked about, how do I give to you digitally? So I figured that out and sent him the link. And that used to be a member of the congregation, not here now, but wanted to help, gave $700, $780 some. It ain't over yet. And I'm thinking, God, you can fix that. That's $1,000. You can fix that. And our God shall supply all your needs in Christ Jesus. And he gives overflowing abundantly. So I'm going out to the mailbox. And I had done a funeral for someone. And I opened up a letter, and it was a thank you card for what I had done. And there was a check. And this person had given in the past, and I looked at that, I'm like, oh, they gave this amount before, but it has an extra zero. They must have made a mistake. And then I read it down at the bottom. No, it's not a mistake. $5,000. We have so much in this building that it needs to be done, and if we're not good stewards of what's been given to us, it will fall apart. I mean, roof fall in. If you go around to the back half of this building, you will see the brick is like, this is how big the brick is. About that much of it, there's no mortar in it because it's all been washed away. So God is going to start that work, and he's not done. And what this does for me is tell me we're not done. God's not done with us. When I was done pastoring, He showed me and built me back up and showed me I wasn't done, Pastor. And he showed me that the church is supposed to be here in Irving. And gives me the building, the money to pay for the building. And now he's showing me I'm going to keep this building together. And I'm going to keep your people together. No matter what, because sometimes our enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And there's been a large section of our church stolen people. But that doesn't bother God. That doesn't bother God a bit. And so this week, actually it's been the last couple of weeks, God reminded me of a prayer. And it's a prayer I've been praying lately. It's used in AA a lot. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. There's lots of things in church that we would love to change, but we can't. And the courage to change the things that we can. There are things that we can change about ourselves, about the place where we worship, the things that we do from this place. We can change those. And the wisdom to know the difference. We're supposed to love each other the way God loved us. And we need to love others the way we want to be loved. And we are loved and accepted by our Father. And we need to do that with the ones that come in. And love and be kind and be little Julies and greet them with a smile and be a Vicky and talk to them. I'm not that person. But I try. Most of the time, unless you come in late, I say hi and things like that. For me, you have to know. You have to know. When I was a child and I was a part of the Methodist Church and they did the little acolyte and you go up and you light the things, I was too private of a person, too scared to walk up there and do that. Standing in front of people was a giant fear. And I've now stood in front, over the years, thousands and thousands of people. And with God's strength. So if you're going, well, I'm not really a people person. Well, the one that lives within you, the Holy Spirit, is. He is a people person. And so be willing to listen to him and follow him. So we haven't even got to the music yet, and it's 10 after 11. This song, for those of you who don't speak Jewish, like Yah, this is Jehovah Jireh. This is the Old Testament name of God. He is Jehovah Jireh, our provider. Different points in the Bible, God has given different names. Don't say I'm heretical. It's nicknames. His name is Yahweh. But there's different things that people call him. I just prayed earlier for Jehovah Rapha. That is God, our healer. And so Jehovah Jireh is God, our provider. And God was given that name in the book of Genesis when Abraham took Isaac up to the altar. And Isaac goes, Dad, you got the wood, you got the knife, you got the fire. What are you going to kill? And he said, Jehovah Jireh. God will provide. And God provided a lamb. He didn't have to sacrifice Isaac. And the same way today, God provided the building. He's now providing the way to keep that building from falling in. He's promised me years ago through a dream, and I don't speak Hebrew, and I didn't understand these words, but God spoke to me in a dream, woke me up, and spoke to me in another language that I did not understand. And I woke up and I looked up those words, and he said, I'm going to provide the place for Shalom McGraw, which is peace in the body. And this is that place. And he said that word means a storehouse. Do you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Do you have 25? Do you have 25 pieces of grain in a storehouse? Does it just barely cover the floor? No. You fill it up. And that's what God promised me a long time ago, that he's going to do that. He said, first the old church has to die, and it's died several times. And he is our provider. He tells us, look out into the fields. They're ripe for harvest. Is our world falling apart? Do people need Jesus now more than anything?
Yes.
They don't need me to preach politics to them. They don't need all that garbage. What they need is Jesus. Jesus, who came and lived a perfect life because they were unable to, so their sin could be forgiven and they could live with Jesus forever. That's the good news. Forever. So he's our provider.